Welcome to ICI, the International Culinary Institute at Horry Georgetown Technical College, excuse me. My name is Catherine Medrano, and I am a chef instructor here. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the program here at the school, and we're going to do a demo. The demo is going to be a Carolina pulled pork sandwich. I only have 30 minutes, so let's get going. So if you are a graduate of a South Carolina high school, you are entitled to funds from the South Carolina Lottery and the South Carolina Win Fund. That gives you about 75% of your tuition covered to come to Horry Georgetown Technical College and to ICI. There's also lots of scholarships that are also available through what we call Pro Start, which is what this program that we're doing today is. And it's also available through a group called Chaîne de Rôtisseurs. If you haven't heard of them, you should definitely research that group. They do a ton to help up-and-coming people in this culinary industry. Some of the clubs that we have here at the school, we have the barbecue club. It's mostly centered on a pavilion that we have outside that is very, very well equipped with state-of-the-art barbecue equipment. And I think it runs every Thursday. We do some really cool things out of there. It's open to the public, so it's an opportunity to have people taste your food and leave reviews on Facebook and Twitter. We also have the pastry clubs. The program here, the breads and the pastry program is really incredible. It's an opportunity to really, really learn an incredible trade. And as Americans, we all really, really love our pastries and our breads. We also have a cheese making club. That's my favorite. A charcuterie club where we're doing all of the fermenting and aging of all kinds of meats. And we also have a culinary team that represents the school at competitions throughout the country. I've seen their work. It's an amazing team, and it's an amazing thing to be a part of. And it gives you tons and tons of opportunities to network with other chefs throughout the country. Okay, so we're going to get started. Today we're going to do the pulled pork, the Carolina pulled pork barbecue sandwich. So obviously that's going to start with a rub. We'll start right here and put our rub together. You can see me, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So with the rub, we have brown sugar, dark brown sugar. We like dark brown sugar because of the flavor that it brings. Black pepper, very important in all your Carolina rubs. Paprika. If you take my class, you'll understand the history behind different ingredients that are used in these rubs and who influenced it early on as settlers in the United States and it's specifically in this part of the country. Salt, because the salt always plays well with the sugar and helps bring out the flavors in a rub. We're going to mix it up really well because the brown sugar tends to cake. And this, I like to make these rubs as I need them. That way I'm using ingredients that are, black pepper isn't something that we call fresh. It is a spice, but I'm grinding it as I need it. The brown sugar, we're opening the package and taking it as we need it. We're not putting any preservatives into any of these things. I use exactly what I need. And I make it fresh every single time so that the flavor on it really is fantastic. It's fresh every single time we use it. I'll move this off to the side. You can take a look right there at that rub and see all the ingredients in there. It looks amazing. It smells amazing. And we'll take our pork. Now, I want to show you the whole thing. That's the pork shoulder right there. We're just going to use a piece of it today. But the shoulder, it's from a pig, four-legged animal, of course. It's an extremely strong muscle. When I say that it's a strong muscle, I also mean that the meat tends to be very, very tough. So you can see the size of that, really large. We've just taken a piece off of it. This is a boneless piece. If you cook it with the bone in, you're going to get tons more flavor. So if you have the chance, I would always say that you want to cook it with the bone in. Okay, we'll open this up and get it rubbed. While I'm saying this, I'll let you know that I turned the oven on to 300. It is preheating. You want the oven ready for the meat whenever the time comes. And we're just going to really, really rub this in. You want to get, if there's space under the skin, you want to get into the spaces under the skin. If there's little bits of muscle and fat that are exposed over here, you want to make sure you get your rub into every single little bit, everything, all in there. As I said, we want to use it all. We want it all to go on the meat. Massage it in a bit. Make sure you're getting the skin. I always like to tamp off whatever's here. Use it all up. And there you go. As per the recipe, you're going to let this sit for 1 hour. For 1 hour before you put it in the oven. We don't have an hour today, so we're going to put it in the oven right away. You're going to put it skin side up. When you put it skin side up, as it sits in the oven, it has the opportunity for all of the fat directly under the skin to melt, and that gives lots and lots of flavor to the pork. I'll mention here and now that the pork that we get here in South Carolina is amazing. The relationships that the school has with local farmers, growers, cheesemakers, farmers, who else? Ranchers. And the next thing we need to do is we need to make a mop. The mop is a very important component of the Carolina barbecue. It's a way for us to continue adding flavor and to help break down the toughness of the pig. Let me get some more gloves and take out the more ingredients. It's pretty simple, but it adds a lot of flavor. Okay. Apple cider vinegar, water, salt and pepper, Worcestershire sauce, and a little bit of vegetable oil. That's all it is. We'll hold this close to the oven, and every 40 minutes we'll open the oven door and we will paint the mop onto the pork. I actually have, if you want to look over here, I actually have 2 already in the oven that are looking pretty good. I can mop these now. Tons of vinegar flavor, really important in your Carolina barbecue recipes. And, ooh, I'm going to do it from this side. We're well on our way. That's the mop. And again, we'll do that every 45 minutes to really help break down the muscles in there. The next thing we're going to work on is the barbecue sauce. So the barbecue sauce, again, really important and different in all the different regions of the United States. It can It can have mustard in some places. It can have honey and brown sugar in other places. Here we go. Okay. So we're actually gonna bring this to a boil. So we're gonna start with all the dry ingredients here. Dry mustard, sweet Hungarian paprika, brown sugar, coarse sea salt, granulated sugar, cayenne pepper, and we also have a little bit of black pepper, and we have Worcestershire sauce and red wine vinegar that we're going to add at the end after we bring it to a boil. So we have a little bit of water here. This is an electric cooktop. We call it an induction unit. I hope you guys have experience with them, but if you don't, when you come to Horry Georgetown, you're going to get experience with this. We see these kind of cooktops all over the industry nowadays. It helps when you're really low on space. It helps when you have pop-ups or banquet events, so you can cook in public. Obviously, they're electric, but they're fun to work with. Easy to control in terms of heat and temperature. And we're going to just bring this up to a quick boil. As soon as we have it at a boil, we'll add in our red wine vinegar and our Worcestershire. And we'll start getting ready for the garnish on the sandwich. The sandwich is going to have it's going to have a slaw made from cabbage from our garden. It's going to have lettuce that's grown in our garden as well, tomatoes from our garden, and local onions. The bread that we're using is from the pastry shop here, the bread shop here at the school. Okay, we're at a boil already. So we're going to add half a cup of vinegar, red wine vinegar this is, and a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. And we're going to let this sit so that whenever we're ready to pull our pork, we can add this right into it. I'll just put it up here and it's ready to go. Okay, so next we're going to work on our slaw. The slaw is it's a raw product that's going to go on the sandwich, so we want to make sure that we have gloves on. We're not going to touch anything that's raw that a guest is going to eat directly. The ingredients here for our slaw. I happen to really like my cabbage really crispy in any kind of coleslaw, so I like to keep it in the refrigerator and sometimes even in ice water before I'm going to use it. One of the most fun things about being in this industry is the opportunity to be creative. I think all the culinary instructors would probably agree with me that we really like to teach people the basics and we like them to understand the classic way that something is prepared. But once you understand the classic technique and how something is prepared and what it's supposed to look like and taste like in its original form, then you get the chance to be creative. So coleslaw usually always is with green cabbage, but we're going to add, just for a little bit of variation, we're going to add a little bit of the purple cabbage to it today. So I have the purple cabbage cut. I will cut the green cabbage. Coleslaw, if you've ever had it, it can really take over a dish because of the thickness of how you cut the cabbage. So we're going to go really, really thin on the cabbage, because really the prize on this sandwich is going to be the pork. So, shredded cabbage. You can always do this on a slicer and get it really paper thin, and then get it back in the refrigerator so that it crisps up for you. And then we're going to mince some onion. I'm going to take the pieces out that are really big. We really don't want them in there. We have some minced garlic as well. So, onion first. Here at the school, we really reinforce all of the time the importance of really sharp knives. You can see that because my knife is so sharp, I can go through this onion so easily and get it all the way down to the size that I want and not have to go back and chop it again. Every time you take the knife to it, it loses a little bit more flavor. So we like to just cut it as little as we can. We absolutely have to. Same with the garlic. In order to mince it, you need a sharp knife and really good technique. Okay. And then the other ingredients for your slaw. Vinegar. Really important. Mayonnaise. I like to keep it really cold before it goes in here. Some salt, pepper, sugar, and a little bit of brown sugar. Okay. Okay, our slaw is ready. We're going to put it back in the refrigerator until we need it. And we're going to toast our buns next. So we're going to put a pan up here, cut the buns in half, and toast them. I want the heat to be nice and high. You can see the buns right here. I have some down below. And I'm going to start with the bottoms. So I have a surface to use for plating. Another little difference that we have is that we're going to serve this as essentially as sliders today rather than a great big sandwich. Just another variation, an opportunity to be creative with presentations. Once you said, like I said earlier, once you understand what it's supposed to look like and how it's supposed to taste, you can start adding your own ideas into how we do things. In the meantime, we will check the pork, which I can pretty much assure you it's ready. We'll take it out of the oven. We'll give it a few minutes to try and cool off before we shred it. We always like to give our meats, when they come out of the oven, we really, really like to give them as much time as we possibly can to do what we call rest. We want the meat to stop cooking. We want the juices that are inside to slow down and stop boiling on the inside of the meat. The more it has an opportunity to rest, the more those juices will not run out as we break up the meat. And that applies to pretty much any meat that you're going to use at any time. Okay, so we are toasting away here. And we will hold off on the tops until we're ready, but we have at least the start. Okay, let's get to the pork. Where's my bowl? Okay, pulled pork. This is what we do. We shred it just like this. You want it to just fall apart. Just shred. As we shred it, we're going to put it right into our barbecue sauce and give the barbecue sauce an opportunity to just take it to its very last, most delicious self. The smaller you get it now, the easier it is to get on your sandwich at plating time. But we'll take it and we'll put it over here in our barbecue sauce. Man, it smells delicious. Okay, let's start with this. You can skin in there nice and crispy. Definitely use that for something else. Bring our sauce back. Turn it on so that it gets warm. Okay. Now, we'll give this a chance to marinate for a few minutes. We're going to toast the other part of our bun and we're going to set up our sandwiches. Like I said earlier, we have some really nice lettuce and tomatoes from our gardens. Oh, where did I put them? Here they are. Okay. I always like to season my tomatoes with a little bit of salt. We have a little coarse sea salt here. Make sure everything tastes its absolute best when we give it to the guest. We're going to take our pan over here, crisp up these. Let me turn it down a second so I can get to it, this part. Okay, barbecue pulled pork. We'll have an opportunity at the end for question and answer. So if you have any questions about the school, the program, me, the industry, different types of jobs, anything, interview skills, if there's anything you want to ask me questions about, you'll have an opportunity to do that in just a minute. I'm going to finish these up. See if there's anybody around here who wants to have a little pulled pork at 9 o'clock in the morning. One more minute. Okay, more toasted. Okay, Carolina pulled pork sandwich. We have a rub, a mop, a barbecue sauce, pulled pork, lettuce and tomatoes garnish. Oh, I forgot the coleslaw. Let's go back. Coleslaw. Good thing we reviewed, right? There you go. That's a sandwich. Okay, are there any questions that I can answer for anybody out there in virtual land? How would we know if there's questions? Okay, I wish you were here to dig in. Any questions from anybody out there at all?
I don't have a question, but this just looks amazing. God, I really appreciate your time. This is great.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope I made everybody hungry and hungry for knowledge and for pulled pork.
Yes, I want some pulled pork now.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. I really appreciate your time and your effort. This was just wonderful, and I'm sure a lot of the teachers will find this really helpful.
Good, good, good. Thank you.